So now I'm starting on the crank. I'm going to make the crank disc out of bronze. First of all, I don't have any brass of the right size or steel, which is what's recommended in the plans. But I quite fancy using bronze anyway. I like bronze, it's a nice material. Also, in the plans from Steve's workshop, the crank is just a circular disc, but I'm going to shape it so that, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a kind of axe head shape. You'll see a good example of that on Swash's videos. His Cornish blue pepper pot engine has got a nice kind of axe shaped crank, and I think he's got a new video on now with an oscillator that he's made which has a similar one. So I'm going to go for a shape of that sort because again I think it just looks nice. The hole for the crank pin is 8mm away from the centre hole. So I'm going to scribe it out with the digital calipers, which are set to 8mm in this blue layout die, and there's a tiny little central hole there. I'm just going to draw a little circle there on the end of the bar before I drill it and part it off. I'll probably also see if I can check that on the DRO on the milling machine just to double check that it's absolutely accurate. Belt and braces, and I probably don't need both, but no harm. There. The hole for the crank pin will be drilled somewhere on that circular line. Way of centering something in the mill when you've got a central hole in your workpiece and there's not enough height in the mill for a wiggler. So this is one way to do it. You have to make sure obviously that whatever you're using here, in this case a chuck key, is actually running true, otherwise you get a false result. Having now offset the workpiece against the drill by 8mm, which is the distance between the centre of the crankshaft and the centre of the crank pin hole, and the centre drill point is coming right down, right in the middle, right on that line that I drew earlier, so that's reassuring. Now, Swash, I'll put his link in the description. It's a good channel, he does some nice work. He makes these nice little cranks that are cut away into an axe head shape, as I said earlier, but he also kind of mills a semicircular groove round the thing, and it looks very nice. And I was going to do that, but actually there just isn't really enough room between the crank pin hole and the main hole in this thing for that. It's only 8mm between these two centres, and it would be likely to be untidy and also over fussy. So I'm just going to leave it plain, but I will cut the crank into that shape. Right, come on, focus. So I'm about halfway through making the crank. Now I've basically hacksawed and filed this by hand, and overall the shape's not bad, but the hole for the crank pin is slightly off centre, which is annoying me a little bit, but actually, to be honest, I think that once the piston is in place, the big end will cover that, and I don't think it's going to be significant. I've also decided I'm going to do the Swash groove after all, because I've got a smallish ball-nosed end mill, and I'll just take a curve round above where you see this temporary shaft there, and I think it'll look quite good. So there's the crank disc. It looks quite nice, I think. The only thing is, like I say, that little hole that's off centre. It's kind of tricky to do these things by hand, at least I find it so. I'm not an expert. I actually really don't think that's an issue once the piston's in place. Yeah, it'll be okay. There's the crank with the crank pin loctited into position. It's a little beauty actually. You hardly notice that offset. It doesn't matter. Keep going on about it. I should shut up about it really, because actually it's fine.